make more of the why can't I talk? Okay, try it again. Hi beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. So as you guys can see from the title, today's video is going to be about YouTube. And just so you know, I'm going to be having a Q&A video soon, so make sure to leave any of those questions right down below. They can be about veganism, YouTube, hair, whatever it is, make sure to leave those and I'll make it into the video. So I get these questions so often about, you know, just how I edit a certain way and what I use to film and do I have this and do I have that. So I'm finally bringing this video to you guys to answer those questions. But also I want to offer one little disclaimer that I'm not going to go into detail of every single thing that I do, because I obviously wouldn't want people copying exactly what I do and just kind of claiming it as their own, because, you know, I work hard on my videos and I like to make it, you know, original for me. But I'm going to just tell you guys, you know, certain things that you can incorporate into what you're doing or whatever you want. But also I do want you guys to stress that there is obviously going to be a learning curve no matter what it is that you're doing. So don't feel as though that just because I don't go into detail of every single thing, that means you'll never learn it or things like that. You really just have to do some research on your own and just find out for yourself. So if you guys are interested, let's get started. Alright guys, first thing we'll talk about is cameras. So I do want to stress how, one, important it is to have a good camera, and two, how unimportant it is to have a new camera. So if you don't already have a YouTube channel or you don't already have a good camera, I really wouldn't worry about, you know, going ahead and buying a really expensive one. Only because YouTube, I feel like a lot of people try to think too much about what goes into their YouTube channel rather than just actually having fun creating the content. Because there's people I even subscribe to that shoot their videos on their iPhone. Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, some expensive Canon or Nikon camera in order to have a, you know, decent quality video. What I personally use is the Canon Rebel T3i. No, sorry, it's a T5i. So that camera I got about maybe like 3 or 4 months after having my YouTube channel, and it wasn't necessarily just for YouTube. Like, I also take photography and I do food pictures. Sometimes, you know, I do like freelance work for like weddings or proms and such, so it just was really good for me to, you know, upgrade my camera, because what I had originally was the I think it was the Nikon Coolpix E500 or 3500 or something like that. It's a pretty old camera in comparison, and the video quality wasn't great, but you know, I still produced videos anyway. So yeah, I just want to stress that it isn't really important for you guys to get a really expensive camera, because you can honestly find like a quote-unquote cheap camera, you know, at Best Buy or on eBay that just does the job. I think the best tips I can have is to get a camera that has, you know, the flip out screen, because if you get the ones, you know, that just stay put, you aren't going to really be able to see what it is you're doing, making sure you're in focus, making sure the light doesn't, you know, come in and out, you know, those things that you want to look for just to make sure the quality of your videos is A1. Let's talk about lighting. So 9 times out of 10 when I am filming something, I go ahead and I use natural lighting. Yes, you'll find YouTubers out there that have, you know, box lights, you know, those photography lights, or just, you know, just like any other type of artificial lighting in comparison to, you know, using natural light. I personally love using natural light more, because it just really, you know, just fits well on your face and you know, all the things that you're shooting. So in my house I have a bunch of, you know, open windows that I can easily, you know, sit in front of, stand in front of in order to get a good quality shot. And I do the same thing when I take my Instagram pictures. There's like a sliding door downstairs that the light comes in really well, so that way I can easily take a perfect picture. However, if you guys want to go ahead and invest in light stands or a light box, you can. However, they are very expensive depending on what you end up getting. So I do actually have, you know, some external lights. I have external box light as well as a photography light when I take pictures, and I got it really cheap off of eBay, I think it is. If I, you know, have the link, I'll link it right down below of the one that I got. And it came with, you know, 4 stands, the box light, the photography light, the umbrellas, and the light bulbs, I'm pretty sure. So I use those when it's either maybe too dark to film, or if I'm taking my food photography and I end up needing like light from like another source, or if I'm shooting my bathroom. If you guys maybe look back at my older videos, I had these weird lighting things from a lot of my older videos, but it's good to have those things. So even right now, I'm shooting like right next to my bedroom window, so I'm just sitting on my bed, and it's about, I think it's probably like 12 o'clock right now, so just the light is just perfect right now. So if you guys are obviously gonna worry about lighting, try to find natural light, just so you don't have to spend the extra money for just separate artificial light, because also with artificial light, it's kind of a hit or miss on how it will do on your face. Like I know, for instance, like some of the ring lights can make you look really yellow. So if you're gonna find artificial light, make sure it's nice white light, so you don't get drowned out or don't look overly tan. So yeah, definitely look out for those. Okay, next let's talk about editing software. When I started this channel, I kind of wanted, like a better feel for my videos. I wanted them to be, fun, as a hobby, but also professional if I really wanted them to be. So I went ahead and I invested into a MacBook. And also, let me preface, I bought my MacBook for work as well, so it wasn't, just for my YouTube channel, so it kind of, fell into like the same thing. So on my MacBook, I have iMovie, and that comes with every single MacBook that you have. It's free software, and the editing on iMovie is great. Like, it's honestly like a very, very simple version to Final Cut Pro. You can upload as many clips as you want, splice them together, add text, add, all of these different things. And there's a bunch of hacks out there on how to, do more than the app gives you, if that makes any sense. There's a bunch of great channels out there. One is Gabriele Marie. If you guys don't know, she makes a lot of, how to, video stuff. I'll leave it down below, leave her channel down below if you guys want to check her out. But what she also does on her channel is for Final Cut Pro, and that is something that I myself invested in about maybe 8 months ago. I went ahead and I purchased the program because I really wanted to do more with my channel and go ahead and, have more overlays and have like some graphics and things like that I knew that Final Cut Pro would be able to give me that iMovie doesn't. So with Final Cut Pro, I went ahead and I buy plugins and I buy overlays from time to time. I don't really try to spend all this money on buying all of these fancy things, because I'm really good at hacking the system in making my own, or going ahead and using the green screens that are free on YouTube. If you guys don't know, you can literally click, type in anything you want into the search bar and put green screen next to it, and I promise you there's probably one there for you to download. So you can just use one of those download websites. One that I like is savedeo.com. So yet again, links I'll leave right down below. So yeah, you guys can easily, use anything that's already free online, but if you want, you can go ahead and invest in, the more expensive kind of editing things. One of the websites I really like is Pixel Film Studios. I don't know why that took me so long to remember. So their website is amazing at, really customizing your videos. I think I only have about maybe 5 things I've ever bought from them, one of them being like one of those packs they have. So yeah, so I do that for my intros, or things like that really come in handy. Alright, so another thing we need to talk about is thumbnails. So some people don't even understand how important it is to have a really good quality thumbnail. When you have a thumbnail, it's really like a small promo for what video that you're putting out. My best suggestion to most people is to obviously make sure that they're really clear, so you can see exactly maybe what words are on it, or what, I don't know, what you look like and things like that, because you really want people to go ahead and click right onto your video. So one of the websites that I use all the time for my thumbnails is PicMonkey.com, and I went ahead and I invested into their kind of premium service. So I pay about $2 a month. It's super cheap, and this isn't necessary. You can honestly get as much out of the the web app as you want just using the free version, but I personally just wanted to do a little bit more, so I pay the extra $2 a month to, you know, have more of the features that they offer. And when I'm making my thumbnails, like let's say I'm filming this video right now, once I'm done filming, I'm gonna go ahead and take a few pictures in order to, you know, make my thumbnail, because the video quality, if I were to do just a screenshot, it would not come out very good quality. So if you're gonna do a thumbnail, stop filming, take your pictures, and then go ahead and continue filming, or do it after or before, whatever you want. So that's a big stress for you guys, is when you're making a thumbnail, do not use screenshots. Like I used to, which I mean I do sometimes if I forget to take a picture, but just try to remember to take a picture, because you will see the quality of your thumbnails go so much better. Now let's talk about music. So this is gonna be kind of an annoying topic for me, because how YouTube is set up, they like to play games when it comes to okay, I'm sorry. But let's talk about music, because adding music to your YouTube video can really help your video, or it can hurt it. So when it comes to like music that I put on my, you know, YouTube channel, I always put a lot of research into finding something that is, you know, copyright free, that is, you know, it just flows really well with whatever video that I'm doing. And a lot of the time that tends to be kind of like a dance, techno, like house type of music, because I really want, you know, whoever's watching my video to, you know, feel energized. And even if I'm like whatever I'm doing in the video is really boring, as long as they're, you know, going ahead and dancing along or whatever, or singing, I don't even know, as long as they're just enjoying, you know, how the video is coming out, is like my main goal. So when I find music for my channel, it's usually from a lot of like, you know, those like music channel, like, you know, that just have music. Or sometimes I'll go ahead and I'll just be watching someone's video, I'll really like what they're playing, and then I'll check the description box and see what song it is, so I can go check it out myself. So a lot of like I'll like leave a list right over here about some of my favorite, you know, YouTube channels to find music. I don't always use those. Sometimes I'll go on SoundCloud, sometimes I'll, you know, just find a different mix, or, you know, or sometimes I'll, you know, ask some of my friends who, you know, have their own type of music that they make themselves, and just ask them permission to use that. I do want to stress, guys, is when it comes to YouTube, it is very hard sometimes to find copyright free music. So if you're going to go ahead and use music that you like, please do not just be like, find the next Justin Bieber song and then just add it into your video, because it will get flagged and you'll get no credit for that video. So I would go ahead and, you know, find channels that are specific for copyright free or royalty free music, because that's a really hard thing that people don't usually understand. Like I'll be watching a video and they're playing freaking Usher's new song, and you're like, hello, like what are you doing? So do some research on finding really good quality, you know, copyright, royalty-free music. Let's talk about audio for a little bit. So you guys obviously know in a lot of my videos I like to do voiceovers, and this isn't necessary on things that you have to do, because you can obviously just, you know, shoot as you're going along with audio. But I think that it really does help you fine-tune every single thing that you're filming, or every single thing that you're explaining when you have voiceovers. And I'm very selective with what videos I do voiceovers with. If it's a tutorial, there's gonna be a voiceover. But you guys maybe see like my what I eat in a day videos, and it's just all music, no talking, because I kind of just like that idea of, you know, what I eat in a day videos. Just get to the point, show me what you're eating, you don't have to say anything kind of thing. So yeah, so voiceovers can really help your channel. So I personally use the audio app on my phone in order to do all my videos. And what I usually do is, after I'm done editing everything, I'll just go ahead and put my computer on mute, hold my, you know, phone up, and I'll just go ahead and, you know, talk right over the video. And because I went ahead and edited everything, I kind of get an idea of what clip is happening next. So I'll just go ahead and record it, and then when I'm done, I'll go ahead and email myself, you know, the audio clip from my phone, and then download it from my email, and then import it into Final Cut Pro. So this is just a tip for you guys. You do not have to go ahead and buy expensive, you know, voiceover mics, or, you know, use like your camera mic, because sometimes that can be iffy. You can literally just use your cell phone and then just email it to yourself. Alright, so let's do like a quick wrap up of everything on how to, you know, finalize your video in order to, you know, make sure it's perfect. So some tips that I really want to stress, guys, is to having a really good descriptive title of your video, because one thing that annoys me a lot of the time when it comes to YouTube videos is like the kind of clickbait, not clear about what the video is about kind of titles. Because if I'm gonna watch a video, I want the title to tell me exactly what I need to know. Yes, clickbait, you know, titles I guess are good just for views, but you know, you really want to have an authentic, you know, really good channel. So I would just stay away from the kind of clickbait things and just, you know, make sure that your videos are clear and to the point. Secondly, have a very descriptive description box that is not as descriptive. And I know you're gonna be like, Allie, what did you just say? So what I mean is making sure that everything in your description box tells your audience exactly what they need to know and nothing more. So for me personally, I put a short little message, you know, kind of like thank you guys for watching, or asking you guys, you know, leave me comments or whatever like that. I'll also put, you know, I'll give credit to what music I made in the description box. That's always in every single one of my description boxes, is I'd say where the music is from. I'm like losing my voice. Also, I'll put what products I use in the video. So if it's a tutorial, I always put what products are from where, or whatever like that. It's same with like recipe videos. I put the recipe in the description box. Lastly, I put all of my social media links in the description box at all times, because if you guys, you know, want to go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, you can find those links in the description box. And I forgot one last thing, is I always put my contact email for businesses and brands that may want to contact me. And I also leave a small little disclaimer if the video is sponsored or not as well. So if you guys ever want to know if a video I'm making is sponsored, you can find the information in the description box. And also a couple more tips is I would stress that you guys always use annotations. Annotations are amazing. I use an annotation every single time I mention a video. So I'll maybe add a thumbnail or something right here, and I'll make sure to leave an annotation so you guys can click on it if you want. And I'm almost positive that is everything I wanted to talk about today. Yes. Also, if you guys enjoyed and want to see more of these tips and tricks videos, make sure to hit that big old thumbs up, and I'll make sure to keep it in my arsenal. But also, if you guys are new here, hit that big old subscribe button, because I would love to have you, and you can come here every Monday and Thursday when I have new videos, and follow me on my social media accounts to see more of me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!